Celebrity Jeopardy! All-Stars season premiere, Friday, March 13th on ABC and Hulu.
Thank you to Sarah Eisen, our lovely guest co-hosting. Have a great day, everyone, and take a little time to enjoy
The View.
This is ABC 7 News at Noon.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Doug Banks. Susan Farley is off today. Before we get to our top stories, let's first check with meteorologist Devin Biggs. Devin?
Happy Friday afternoon. That small craft advisory has been issued now until 1 a.m. Sunday. We'll continue to watch for some active surf until about that time frame for the areas highlighted. But in the meantime, we're looking nice on land. Hardly anything developing, so a good amount of sunshine being observed at this moment in time. So let's zoom things out, seeing a little bit of development in Canada, moving into parts of the U.S., some of that, a little bit of lake effect snow as well, but otherwise not looking too bad at this moment. But let's check things out with Futurecast, seeing a little bit of clouds to the north, otherwise a lot of sunshine for us. Later on tonight, we'll be under a partly cloudy sky. A lot more clouds on the way for your Saturday. Slight chance for rain and snow coming up as we head through Saturday as well. Some more clouds early Sunday morning. So in the meantime, some wind for us today and tonight. Not looking too bad, but it's tomorrow, though, that will have to watch out for more gusty winds reaching up to about 30, perhaps 35 miles per hour. But for today, low 30s, lots of sunshine. You might notice some clouds and a southwest wind at about 5 miles per hour. The hourly forecast moving forward this afternoon, lots of sunshine, maybe some clouds, temperatures in the 30s, and then cooling off. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up.
Thank you, Devin, for that report. We'll see you later on the broadcast. Folks, first here on the broadcast, a Bangor man has been found guilty of murder in the 2024 death of his friend. Gary Brinson was found guilty by a jury yesterday morning. He was accused of killing his friend Lee Ruona after an alleged night of heavy drinking on around December 2nd, 2024 at his Bangor apartment. The trial lasted only a couple of days. Brinson is set to be sentenced on the afternoon of April 14th. A man from New York is facing charges after allegedly pulling a gun on Fairfield police. Authorities say it happened just before 4:30 Thursday afternoon when police responded to a report of a disturbance and assault on a man on Main Street. They say 28-year-old Tyshawn Washington of Brooklyn, New York, took off on foot and pulled a pistol from his waistband while being chased by police. He was eventually found in a wooded area by the river and was taken into custody. Washington is now facing a long list of charges, including criminal threatening with a dangerous weapon, assault, and refusing to submit to arrest. To Vassalboro now, a Vassalboro man is in custody following a months-long investigation into drug trafficking. According to the Maine Drug Enforcement Agency, agents have been investigating suspected drug trafficking at the residence on the Weber Pond Road in Vassalboro for the past 8 months. On Wednesday, agents learned that 24-year-old Edward Lawrence of Vassalboro was coming back to Maine, allegedly carrying a large amount of drugs. At around 8 p.m. last night, troopers stopped Lawrence on 295 north of the West Gardner tolls. But as troopers approached the vehicle, MDEA says Lawrence took off. Police disabled the vehicle, and they say Lawrence then took off on foot, but was apprehended with the help of Maine State Police K-9. His vehicle was searched, and MDEA says they found over 2,000 grams of cocaine and more than $1,000 in suspected drug proceeds. Lawrence now faces multiple charges, including aggravated drug trafficking and eluding an officer. He's being held at the Kennebec County Jail. In other news, for a second time in 2 weeks, Border Patrol agents have detained migrant workers outside Skowhegan on their way to work for an outdoor tomato grower in the town of Madison. As Brad Rogers learned, some of those taken into custody are now separated from their children.
Border Patrol agents have now twice targeted this old motel, now owned by Backyard Farms, used to house migrant workers and their families.
What they've been doing is coming here, kind of trolling around at the motel that Backyard Farms owns, and then about 10 minutes from Backyard Farms, they were pulled over.
Maureen Calder, co-founder of Mainers for Humane Immigration, believes Backyard Farms is being targeted simply because they're one of the largest employers of migrant workers.
Do you feel like they're being detained illegally?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah, definitely. There's no reason for them to take them, and they have work permits.
And they need H-2A visas up here to do agricultural work. So why don't we just give people these visas and let them come and work?
Ivar Luffing knew many of the workers who have been detained and says they are being held in Texas. Border Patrol agents have yet to provide us any information about the detainees. But Luffing says these migrant workers are hardly the worst of the worst.
I think it's awful because, they came here to work. They're certainly not criminals in any way, shape, or form. Everybody I've met have been hardworking, decent, honest people.
Maureen Calder says some of the detained migrants were in the process of becoming citizens.
Hopefully we'll find out some more information.
Now they are separated from their spouses and children.
One individual at the motel had a 3-year-old with her. And so the 3-year-old was able to stay with an older sibling. What I want to know is, what is Backyard Farms doing in order to protect these people?
She says migrants are now refusing to work at the farm over fears of arrest.
They should be welcomed and guaranteed a safe stay while they're here.
Backyard Farms, its Canadian-owned parent company, and the Michigan company that supplied the migrant workers all declined our request for comment.
That was Brad Rogers reporting. Yesterday, Senator Susan Collins took to the floor to urge her fellow lawmakers to support bipartisan legislation that could mean eliminating a potentially harmful waiting period for those applying for Social Security disability benefits. The bill is called the We Can't Wait Act. Senator Collins introduced the bill yesterday, along with Democratic Senator Maggie Hassan of New Hampshire. The SSDI program provides eligible individuals with benefits if they become disabled and unable to work. The proposed bill would allow claimants to begin receiving benefits immediately after approval rather than waiting 5 months in exchange for a small reduction in their monthly benefit amount. A claimant could also choose to endure the waiting period and receive the full benefit amount. Senator Collins said on the floor yesterday that the 5-month waiting period could pose a serious risk to someone who has fallen ill or is injured and in need of medical care.
While this reform is carefully targeted, its impact, Mr. President, would be profound. It would end the tragic reality in which Americans with disabilities suffer and in some cases die during an unnecessary 5-month delay after their disability has been officially certified by the Social Security Administration.
In other news, while the demand on Maine's county corrections facilities has changed, officials say its state funding has not. Penobscot County Sheriff Troy Morton and others spoke at the State House, requesting lawmakers to approve the recommended funding. Here's that story.
We're trying to solve those long-term problems, but that short-term problem is now, and it is not going away. And the only way to solve that is for the state to step up.
Wednesday, before the Committee on Appropriations and Financial Affairs, officials urged lawmakers to approve the county commissioner's funding request of $4 million for fiscal year 2026 and $8 million for next fiscal year. According to Penobscot County Sheriff Troy Morton, the supplemental budget does not adequately address the needs of the county correctional system, a system hampered by cost drivers that he says are out of the county's control, including a backlogged judicial system and a state mental health system lacking appropriate capacity.
The tax caps that are in place are a challenge for the county. The costs continue to come back to property taxpayers.
That local property tax, Sheriff Morton told us on Thursday, equals around 75% of funding for the county jail. A contrast to most other county facilities across the country, which he says are not solely funded by property taxes, but rather through sin taxes, like marijuana, liquor, and gambling.
We need to be able to figure out a better way to fund this and not solely on the backs of property taxpayers alone.
For Penobscot County specifically, County Commissioner's Chair Andre Cushing told lawmakers the county has had to recoup a $3.5 million jail deficit that's also been carried over for almost 5 years.
And that is because the cap limits how much we can get from the property taxpayer, and the flat funding from the state leaves a delta that we have absorbed through our revenues. And that is just not, as you've heard, a sustainable model.
Doug Banks reporting for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News. Coming up on ABC 7 News at Noon, former President Bill Clinton testifies about his relationship with convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Well, the details after the break.
I'm Jim with Lowry Law. A husband and wife called me after they were hit by a drunk driver. We got them a $400,000 settlement they were able to use for their retirement. Call me. I'm your go-to guy.
Most business problems start with one thing: unreliable technology. Digital Brains monitors, protects, and maintains your entire IT environment, keeping everything running flawlessly. When your technology works for you, your business starts thriving. Faster service, happier clients, more productivity, less stress. Clients don't wait, neither should you. Contact Digital Brains today for your free technology assessment. Digital Brains, we help people feel free.
At the County Federal Credit Union, we value the trust our members place in us to act in their best interest. Whether it's providing low rates on consumer loans or raising money to end hunger, we work hard to serve our members and the communities in which they live. We are excited to bring the meaningful and impactful work we do to all Mainers as we continue to grow. Wherever you are in life's journey, count on the county to be your financial partner.
Good luck to the Hamden girls basketball team in the championship from Carpet One. Leo & Sons Auto Repair in Hamden proudly congratulates the Hamden girls basketball team on reaching the state championships.
When Maine winter bites, nothing matters more than keeping your family warm. The solution is simple: a high-efficiency heat pump installed by Valley Home Services. It's the quiet, reliable warmth you need all season long. At Valley Home, we're your elite Fujitsu dealer, ensuring expert installation that delivers consistent comfort and maximizes your energy savings. And we make it easy to switch to efficiency heating and qualify for those valuable Efficiency Maine rebates. Stay perfectly warm without the high cost. For a warm, worry-free winter, trust the local experts. Valley Home Services. Winter warmth is waiting. Call us today.
Roto-Rooter has served the greater Bangor area and beyond for 35 years, offering plumbing, hydrojetting, snaking, descaling, video inspection, and grease interceptor cleaning services. For all your residential and commercial clogs, call Roto-Rooter today, 990-1234.
And away go troubles down the drain. Roto-Rooter.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Former President Bill Clinton is being questioned today by lawmakers about his relationship with convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. It comes after his wife, former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, was deposed for 6 hours yesterday. ABC's Perry Russum is in New York.
Former President Bill Clinton facing the House Oversight Committee today as a part of the Republican-led investigation into convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. His deposition happening behind closed doors in Chappaqua, New York.
Today, we hope to be able to do as we did yesterday and continue to bring some of the most powerful people in the world in to answer questions. Again, no one's accusing anyone of any wrongdoing.
The former president was associated with Epstein for years. In an interview last year with Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, Epstein's convicted co-conspirator Ghislaine Maxwell said she is the one who had a friendship with Clinton, not Epstein. During her interview, Maxwell said Clinton never visited Epstein's private island in the Caribbean.
You're not aware of President Clinton ever going to the island?
He absolutely never went, and I can be sure of that.
Clinton says he cut ties with Epstein years before any allegations of sexual exploitation against Epstein came to light. He also denied any wrongdoing and any knowledge of Epstein's crimes. No Epstein survivor or associate has ever made a public allegation of wrongdoing or inappropriate behavior by Clinton.
What we're interested in today is a serious deposition. We have real questions that deserve serious answers from former President Clinton.
The former president's deposition comes a day after his wife, former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, was deposed for hours.
I never met Jeffrey Epstein, never had any connection or communication with him. I knew Ghislaine Maxwell casually as an acquaintance.
Hillary Clinton says she found the deposition to be repetitive and not very productive, with questions at the end going off topic. She says she was asked about UFOs. The former First Lady demanded the deposition happen in public, but Republicans refused. Former President Clinton also pushed for his deposition to be public, but again, it is happening behind closed doors. It is being recorded on video. That could be released in the coming days. Perry Russom, ABC News, New York.
As President Donald Trump works on confronting Iran, another war flares up in Central Asia. This time it's between Afghanistan and Pakistan. Fox News correspondent Stephanie Bennett has more from London.
A new conflict with global implications is now underway in Central Asia. Pakistan declared it's now in, quote, open war with neighboring Afghanistan after the two sides traded overnight strikes in a major escalation of tensions. It started late Thursday. Afghanistan launched a ground attack, resulting in significant casualties at the border. Pakistan responded with a series of airstrikes, some of which reportedly hit a refugee camp.
There was an airstrike during the food distribution. Many people were injured. You can see the situation. We are helpless.
Those airstrikes prompted a cross-border shelling attack by Afghan forces, killing several civilians in Pakistan.
Shells fell on the mosque and our houses. It was very difficult. We couldn't do anything. We couldn't run or stop due to heavy fire.
Tensions have been building for months. Pakistan accuses the Taliban government of harboring terrorists and acting as a proxy agent for India, Pakistan's traditional enemy. Well, the Taliban says that's not true and their forces are ready for a long fight.
The Mujahideen are ready and fine. All Pakistani soldiers have fled. We are ready to defend the country, Islam, and honor.
The UN now calling on both sides to back down and return to the bargaining table.
The tensions need to be reduced. We look to kind of cool heads and hopefully third parties will be listened to.
Diplomats from Qatar and Saudi Arabia are reportedly working to get a ceasefire in place. In London, Stephanie Bennett, Fox News.
In other news, Maine House Democrats shared an update on the progress of a package of bills that they call the Lower Costs, Stronger Communities policy package. The package was introduced at the start of the legislative session in January. Maine House Speaker Ryan Fecteau spoke about LD 2208, a bill he is spearheading that seeks to offset federal cuts in health insurance for Maine seniors and families. That bill was slated for public hearing today and takes aim at a number of issues.
It will protect existing services and bring back others like maternity care at our hospitals. The bill will provide funding to supplement DHHS's Department of Health and Human Services work to strengthen our rural health care system, establish a state-funded insurance subsidy for CoverMe.gov to make up for the loss of federal subsidy ended by Congress.
The bill also sets up a fund to respond to federal cuts that affect the Maine Care program. Another bill in the package that passed in committee last week seeks to make it easier to get vaccines and eliminate vaccine copays for those on state-regulated health care plans. President Donald Trump called out Maine in his State of the Union address Tuesday night, and Maine Republicans are responding. The call-out came as the president was addressing alleged fraud claims, specifically in migrant communities, announcing a war on fraud that will be led by Vice President J.D. Vance. This did not come as a shock to Maine House Republican leader Billy Bob Falkingham, who says he has been waiting for this as he and other Republicans have repeatedly called for a larger investigation into how the state has been using its funding.
They should be able to answer with transparency and get to the bottom of this. I think that right there is why the federal government has to come and fix this mess, because the state of Maine has not done its job. It has not handled the money correctly. It has not administered its programs correctly. Fraud has run rampant.
All right, folks, after the break, Mr. Food will show us a delicious Amish dish. That's a tongue twister. Let's find out what that's about after the break.
People ask me all the time, are those commercials really true? Does Lowry & Associates really get all of those clients, all of those big settlements? Yes, we do. We really have gotten millions of dollars for Mainers hurt by commercial vehicles. And the insurance companies know when you call the twos, we're going to fight for you. And you know what else is true? I really am standing on top of this big truck.
Hurt by a big truck? Call the twos. We win for you.
No. I'm in my own head.
What the heck are you talking about?
I think I got away with something that I shouldn't have. See that brand new Hyundai Santa Fe?
Yeah.
I only paid.
Finish that bucket on your own. Practice makes perfect.
Enjoy your new car.
Yeah, you too. Bye-bye.
Deal so right, it almost feels wrong. The Hyundai Getaway Sales Event.
Lease an all-wheel drive Hyundai Santa Fe SE for $319 a month, or get 0% APR plus 0 payments for 90 days. Hurry in.
Keep your next building project on track when you plan ahead with help from Hammond Lumber Company. Hammond's Home Planning Center specialists offer professional plans with customizable 3D renderings available to bring your project to life. Once your design is finalized and approved, you'll receive a full materials list. And when you buy all your materials from them, Hammond will refund your design fees. Get your building project off to the right start when you bring your vision to Hammond Lumber Company.
Hello, this is George Whelan with Down East Direct Cremation. Now, anytime, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 52 weeks a year, from the comfort of your desktop or the convenience of your mobile device, you can summon transport and arrange a simple, affordable, respectful Down East Direct Cremation for your deceased loved one. Just by using the button exclusively at downeastdirectcremation.com. All you need is the location address of the person who has died, their vital statistics information, a valid credit card for payment, and that's it. No need to pick up the telephone, no need to answer a bunch of questions, no need to come into the store, and it's still just $9.75 complete. It's so easy, even I can do it. For more information, visit us at downeastdirectcremation.com or call us at 207-225-5332. Simple, affordable, respectful. The button, only at downeastdirectcremation.com.
There's something about the Amish that just draws us in. We're fascinated by the way they dress and how content they are with the simpler things in life. But the one thing that really keeps us coming back is their food. I think the secret is that it tastes amazing and it makes us feel good inside and out. One dish that does that is a shortcut version of the Amish classic that we're making today. After melting some butter in a soup pot, we stir in some flour and simmer that until it begins to turn golden. Once it is, we slowly stir in some milk and a generous amount of cubed up prepared cheese. We keep stirring it until the cheese melts and the sauce thickens up. Now we add some frozen green beans, a few cans of canned potatoes that we've cut up, some diced cooked ham, and a few seasonings. All that's left to do is pour this into a sprayed casserole dish and pop it in the oven for about an hour. You see, since most of us don't have the time to make dinner like the Amish do, it's okay to use a few shortcut ingredients to cut down on prep time. And with every spoonful, we get all the creamy, homey goodness we love without all the work. The recipe for our twist on the traditional Pennsylvania Dutch classic, Amish ham and cheese casserole, is online now, so you can savor the taste of the old world in your world. I'm Howard in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found an Amish way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
That does look good. All right, in other news, employers and aspiring employees filled Hussey University's Newman Gymnasium yesterday for a spring career fair. The Hussey University holds a career fair once per semester. The one on Thursday featured a variety of employers ranging from business to healthcare, including Bangor Savings Bank and Chimbro. Those we spoke with yesterday say events like this provide students an opportunity to learn where their interests are.
Some get offers on the spot today. Some have been interacting with these employers on an ongoing basis, and some this is their first time meeting today. And so we will educate them and encourage them to follow up and, formally apply and then help them succeed in their interviews.
I'm very excited for the journey I've had here. So that's the best thing about it so far, and I'm excited to see what the future is.
According to the university, an estimated 70 employers participated in this year's Spring Career Fair. All right, folks, after the break, Devin Biggs has your full 5-day forecast. We'll be right back.
You're driving down the road, and out of nowhere, boom! You're hurt in a car accident. Now you've got expensive medical bills, lost earnings, and you've got to deal with that insurance company. The problems just keep piling up. When you call the twos, I'll handle all of those problems. All you have to do is get better while I work to get you paid. Hurt in a car accident, I'm on top of it. I'm your go-to guy.
Call 222-2222.
A sharp pain in his chest. He knew it was his heart, but 2 hours from the big city hospital could tragically mean the end. But it wasn't. Thanks to Senator Susan Collins' tireless fight for Maine's rural hospitals. Because of Senator Collins' work, his local hospital had recently received up-to-date diagnostic equipment and upgraded facilities, all paid for with new federal funding. Lives are being saved. Call and thank our Senator Susan Collins for delivering this lifeline for Maine.
The University of Maine Finish Strong Adult Degree Completion Program proudly congratulates the Machias boys basketball team on heading to the state tournament. Go Bulldogs! Finish strong!
After high school, I went to college in upstate New York, but then got involved with life and family. When I first thought about going back to school, it seemed really intimidating. One of the great things about an online program is that you can combine studying as part of your day. The flexibility is really helpful.
We can go into a room and have absolutely nothing in there, nothing on the windows, no color, no character, no tone to a room.
That's, I think, where we're strongest, is being able to help someone envision what's going to go in that window.
And we leave, it's totally transformed into something that the customer wants it to be. We've often been told we make a room look better just by leaving it.
Welcome back. Here's your full forecast with Devin Biggs.
Thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Old Town Redemption Center, now offering a 10% bonus on your returnables and a monthly $100 drawing. Alrighty, here we go. A small craft advisory is posted until Sunday at 1 a.m. We'll be watching for some active surf until about that time frame. But in the meantime, wave heights look like this at around 3 to 4 feet according to the buoys, so not too bad. Farther off towards the north and east, a little more active according to the contours. If you want to see even higher surf, it's farther out towards sea at around 7, 8 feet, even 6 feet farther out towards sea at this moment in time. On land, we're actually looking really good. Lots of sunshine being observed. It's going to be a very nice day out there. A little bit of returns farther off into Canada and off toward the west right now. You can see that right there. No problem for us. We might see some clouds on and off, but either way, a nice day. A lot of activity in the southern U.S. and off toward the northern parts of the U.S., but either way, we're looking really good at this point. Some clouds to the north today, but otherwise a lot of sunshine for us. Some clouds tonight, not a big deal. As we head towards later on early Saturday morning, again, we're going to see some clouds. There is a slight chance for rain and snow as we head through Saturday. Again, not a huge deal, but again, by Saturday night, we'll still see a few passing clouds, and then maybe some more clouds on the way as we head towards your Sunday. Gusty winds, not a huge problem today or tonight. It's tomorrow we watch for gusty winds that can reach up to 30 miles per hour at times, and that will also continue through Saturday afternoon. So overall for today, low 30s, mostly sunny, and that southwest wind getting up to about 5 miles per hour. And then overnight, here's what we're looking at. Upper teens, partly cloudy, and that south wind getting up to about 5 miles per hour. And then here we are at Saturday. Mid-40s, mostly cloudy. There is a slight chance for rain and snow. That wind increasing out of the south at around 35 miles per hour. Let's check out your extended forecast brought to you by Old Town Redemption Center, showing a chance for snow on your Sunday with highs in the upper 20s and then low 20s for your Monday under a mostly sunny sky. Mid-30s Tuesday with a chance for snow.
Good to know, Devin. Thank you. Well, for those who've wanted to make a trip to the coastal city of Belfast, this weekend is a good time to do so, because starting today, the annual Ice Festival kicks off. The weekend-long festival combines winter-themed creativity with over 25 pop-up ice sculptures and community spirit, with many downtown businesses participating in unique events. The festival will also feature the long-awaited return of the State of Maine Ice Carving Championship. It'll also kick off with the first frost and flannel ice ball That'll take place tonight from 6 until 10 p.m. at the Belfast Boathouse. And finally here on the broadcast, what began as a routine night for a Maine mom ended with a surprise delivery on the side of I-95 during a snowstorm. Hannah Oriole of South Paris began having contractions early Saturday morning and began heading to the hospital with her husband, but the baby had other plans. They were about halfway to the hospital when it became clear they wouldn't make it. Oriole says they pulled over during a snowstorm as the baby began making its way into the world. Her husband and a 911 operator helped deliver the baby on the side of the interstate before continuing to the hospital. Less than a week later, the mom of 8 is back home with her family and a brand new daughter named Rosalina. Happy story there. All right, that's all for ABC 7 News at noon. Thank you for watching. I'm Doug Banks. We'll see you this evening on ABC 7 News at 6. Until then, take care.
He was being a jerk. Fair statement?
Yes.
A relationship hits a rough patch.
You looked in his phone.
I did.
Tell me what you found in his phone that bothered you.
He was talking to several other women.
Well, that would bother me too.
But did she hit back?
You think that she was angry?
Yes.
She found out that he was talking to other females and she wanted to mess up his car.
Did you see her?
Next, Judge Judy.
Friday at 5 on ABC 7.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
The following program is a paid advertisement for the New Wave Forever Smart Air Purifier, sponsored